I promised Shannon we would hear at Silverman informally
Right.
and set a site visit. Because I'm having significant technical difficulties with the Berkshire Eagle. Ouch.
Yep,
Okay.
up to snuff here so far.
Yeah. So Shannon?
Shannon, what do you got for us? Question?
Okay. So this is 104 Interlaken Road. Let me see if I can pull the plan up for you. Hold on.
I only have one copy of the plan, Shannon.
Because you gave me one.
Oh, I have two copies of the plan.
Okay, let's see. I think it's this one. Okay, can you see that plan?
Yes.
Okay, I don't have my nice colored one up tonight. So this is 104 Interlaken Road. I know some, if not all of you are familiar with this property. It was formerly R.J. McDonald and Brigitte McDonald's property. Just to the north is the boat ramp, Jane Iredale's property, and then this one. It's 4.9 acres. Interlaken Road is out here, and then there's a driveway comes down, crosses an intermittent stream, and comes down to the house. So Jacob and Katie Silverman purchased the property, and what they would like to do is put a 208 square foot addition on the north side of the house with a stone staircase going down to the lower terrace. This house is first floor coming off of the driveway, and then there is a walkout just on this north section here, and then those raised patios and decks off the second floor. So there's this small addition, and then there's an outdoor kitchen area, which is 54 square feet and a stone patio set in stone with a walkway tying back into the existing terraces. There's also a small extension to the front porch, and then a one-car garage and a carport up here. The Lake and Punt overlay district line runs through the garage. 200 feet runs to the rear of the garage from the lake. And then this intermittent stream and a couple of bordering vegetated wetlands associated with it brings another buffer zone line out here. So all of the setback lines pretty much cross and cover all of the property under the Conservation Commission's jurisdiction.
So how far from the buffer zone? How far in is this?
Well, the house currently is 50 feet from the lake.
And so the additions are closer to the lake?
No, they are not.
They're not. Okay. So
No, this is a raised deck over an existing patio. That'll be 50 feet from the lake. All of these hatched areas here are existing stone patios set in concrete, and they want to repair some of those. The stairs are falling apart and such. They'd like to repair them as is with the chinking of the concrete. If that cannot be done, if they have to rip them out, then they will make them pervious patios, but currently they are not pervious. The dock that's there is one of the Amnesty grandfathered docks, and that will be removed, and a town compliant dock, 200 square feet in size, 20 feet, 25 feet in length, will be installed. We have roof runoff being managed through stone at the drip line for the two additions. The garage is going to have a trench drain that's going to go to a rain garden. And the existing footbridge, which you're taking your life in your hands if you were going to walk across that right now, is going to be replaced with a flat bridge 5 feet wide over the intermittent stream on the existing stone abutments that we can take a look at. The driveway is going to be resurfaced and the swales just revamped with 3-inch diameter riprap and a level spreader down in this area. They would also like to pave from Interlaken Road, which, as you know, is a paved road, to the bridge. From the bridge down, it'll be a gravel driveway. The vegetation that's going to be removed is some hemlocks, and those will be replaced with giant arborvitae. And then along the shoreline, it's a lot of invasives. The trees are going to stay. The invasives are going to be cleaned out. They're going to be cut down annually to kill them, and the roots scraped, not pulled out, and no chemicals used. And natives are going to be planted in that area. In the notice of intent, I included a list of the proposed plantings along the shoreline, the rain garden, and this planting area over here on the other side of the driveway. We are well below coverage
Do we have that list?
threshold, no closer to the lake than existing. Sideline setbacks are met, but we are within buffer zone, 200-foot buffer zone, and LPOD.
Is there any loss of buffer zone?
Any loss of buffer zone? Yes, for the
Yep.
addition and the garage.
And what's the square foot of buffer zone loss?
Honestly, my numbers are on my plan, which is in my car.
Yeah, you can tell us next time.
But it's about 700 square feet or so for the garage and carport. This is 208, and it's 54 square feet for the outdoor kitchen, and then the small stone patio to go with that.
So over 1,000 square feet of buffer zone loss?
If that, yes.
Okay, so that will be something we'll talk about.
Shannon, is there a DEP number on this?
There is a DEP file number. We do not have natural heritage yet. Mark's comments were the Chapter 91. There is an open order of conditions on the property, which Sally was going to look into. I don't know what that is for. And waiting for natural heritage, and that it is a buffer zone project. So if the commission is looking for more plantings, that's acceptable.
Shannon, do you have a date on the previous order? And as it was RJ the applicant?
It was RJ's, yes.
Okay.
I don't have it in front of me. I'm sorry, I left everything in my car. I was planning on coming in person until I heard this wasn't being heard. And so I thought I'd jump on the Zoom.
Yeah, so any sense of when?
Let me look it up for you.
I'm sorry?
Let me look it up.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
1991.
Of course. And what was the number? Do you have the number?
115.
Okay, all right. I can find it that way. Thank you.
195 or 115?
So
Yeah,
we
we're
need a
at 5 something now.
Yeah, I found the order, but it doesn't tell me what it was for.
Okay, all right. I don't remember.
Do you have a contractor yet?
They are working with Creative Building Solutions. And they have a
115.
landscaper on board to do this work.
All right. Someone was,
115 was for an addition.
Addition.
Okay. So Shannon, do we want to clear this out before we go? Do you want to submit for a certificate of compliance? And we can look at,
Yes.
And we can look at that at the same time we do our site visit?
Yeah, I'm not sure where the addition was.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'll look it up.
Um,
So Mark, your comment on this
Yeah,
about, your comment number 4, I don't know if you have it in front of you. Do you want to say anything more about that?
no, I mean, that's my, when you have a developed site and it's a buffer zone, that's pretty much a boilerplate comment for me, number 4. I mean, it just reminds the commission they have authority to require additional plantings or other work to protect the resource areas.
Okay.
Yeah, there is an area of trees where the garage is going, which is 150, which is between the 100-foot and the 150. So it is within your 200-foot buffer zone, but not within 100 feet. And partially within 100 feet of the stream. And that BVW, that buffer zone runs through the garage. But there are some trees that are going to need to come down for that garage. And those are going to be replanted one for one within the buffer zone to the stream.
Before our site visit, can you mark those trees that are coming down?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, yep, the additions and the garage are going to be staked out this week. And once those are done, I can mark those trees.
You want to set a site visit?
I would like to.
How soon before you're ready for us?
It'll be flagged by Friday. Friday. So next week would be great.
I think
Monday's a holiday.
oh, yeah, that's right too.
It's the weather.
Tuesday? Nope.
Tuesday afternoon.
I'm tied up at 3:30 for an hour. 3:30 to 4:30, I'm tied up, so.
I have a nap from 1 to 3:30.
Here.
Only on Tuesdays, because I always have to have a nap with Dexter, so that he will have a nap.
Could we do it at 4:30?
I can't.
Let's try
What day
for
is
Wednesday.
that?
I can't.
Morning?
I can't.
Wednesday, I'm open after 12:30. Oh yeah, in the morning, I'm open until 11.
Wednesday morning's good for me.
9 o'clock?
Can do Wednesday.
I'd like to.
9 o'clock.
Wednesday.
8 o'clock?
But Thursday,
Do we have more
Chuck?
people?
Thursday wide open.
I can do Thursday.
Thursday?
I've got something from 1 to 3 Thursday afternoon.
There's a nap
We'll do it
program.
11 o'clock on
No
Thursday.
nap on Thursday.
Oh, no,
Oh,
Thursday.
or 3:30?
Okay.
3:30 on Thursday?
That works for me.
3:30 Thursday.
3:30 on Thursday, the date of that
The
is?
2nd, March 2nd?
23rd.
Oh, 23rd, okay.
Yeah, I'll be
Yeah,
out of the hot
27.
tub by then.
What time did you say?
3:30.
I may have class.
Thursday,
2:23.
My class is. All right, 3:30.
the 23rd.
21?
Third,
Yeah.
Thank you.
at 3:30.
Accommodating.
104 in the Lake and
No, I
Road.
said thank you.
Oh, it's the 23rd. right?
23rd at 3:30.
Right, okay.
There's some question about showing up at site visits unannounced too, but we'll discuss that next meeting.
What do you mean?
If we set a site visit and people can't make it, we may have to do some sort of notification whether other people go, but it's not impossible.
Who other people?
Board members. That's,
3:30.
we'll find out. I'm not saying it is or isn't, but
Okay, so
Thursday, the 23rd at 3:30 at 104 Interlaken Road.
Okay, Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you there.
Thank you.
Any other upcoming? Anyone have any other business up there? Now that you can see us and we can see you.
We don't have anything else on the agenda.
I made a comment to Sally earlier about that notice of intent for the new owners there at 15 Lakeview Drive. That's on your agenda there.
Oh, 15 Lakeview, okay, yeah,
Yeah, submitted by, I guess, Rob Ackroyd.
yes,
Yeah,
I told Sally, we have not received that notice of intent.
yes, we continued it. I'm sorry, we were having technical difficulties. We continued it until the next meeting for receiving the file number.
Is Rob going to submit it to us?
I got the impression perhaps not.
There you go, Dan. There you go.
It wasn't that definite, but it seemed like maybe it had not been yet. So we haven't closed the hearing on it, and we haven't received the,
Because I have nothing to review. or issue.
okay. Well, I think he will get it to you. I'm sure he will get it to you, because otherwise we can't close the hearing.
Okay.
But we did ask for the certificate of compliance from the 526, number 526, and we approved that. And so we're starting fresh. We don't have any open filings that we know about.
All right, so 526, they never proposed, they withdrew the piers, porch, and the dock. I mean, 526 was for work, including a dock, but
Right,
that's the same proposal that Graylock's gonna do for this new one, right?
exactly.
So they
Yes,
never did it under 526.
they did not.
Okay. Got it. Gotcha. Now, your lake bylaw, whatever, has specifications for what you guys allow for docks. Is that my understanding?
Yes, it cannot be more than 25 feet into the water from the main high water mark, and it must be less than 200 square feet.
Okay.
And it's different if it's in the channel.
Oh, right.
Yeah, there's some, I don't know that there's a bylaw on that, but we have
There's a percentage.
it's a percentage of the channel. So in other words, you can't block a navigable waterway.
Under chapter 91, they wouldn't be allowed to do that either. I don't know if Rob's ever done a chapter 91 license application.
Well, there's always a first time.
Always the first time. Okay. How's everything else going out there?
We're still fighting with our performance standards.
The data's helping you with that.
Yeah,
Yes,
we thought we were close and then we weren't.
Did one once.
yeah, he had some suggestions, and then our town council had some other suggestions, and they weren't necessarily the same ones.
Was 80.
So we regressed on that one.
Oh, you'll get it. Best to do it right the first time than anything else, you know?
That was our hopes.
For the 8th time.
You'll get it.
Sorry.
I would have guessed 6.
Okay.
By all means,
Kelly, can I
Marie.
ask a question?
Yes,
Who's in charge of floating docks?
Nobody.
absolutely
The
nobody.
planning board.
Not even Mark, huh? Well, yeah, because this last one that we just had with Shannon Boomsmart, there's a floating dock that's going in.
Well,
Floating-
that's subject to chapter 91 as well. Now, if you guys had a harbor master, the
Yes.
harbor master could permit you to float.
We have no to the best of my knowledge, there is no regulation in our town bylaws that regulates floating docks. And I was told by somebody years and years ago that if it was floating and it was not attached to the
Sure.
shore, that it did not have the same requirements under Chapter 91 as one that is attached to the shoreline. I don't know if that's true.
Well, no, I mean, it still needs permitting from the Conservation Commission. And technically, it's still, but, I mean, the cleanest way to handle this is for the town to get its own harbor master.
We have a harbor master.
But
So the
it's-
harbor master has the legal ability to permit these floats under Chapter 91.
But if we don't have a regulation,
I don't
About
know
it?
if it's in-
He can just permit it to happen? I mean, he can just say, yes, you can do this or not?
I don't know the procedure. If you want, I can have the waterways program in Boston contact the commission.
that would be great.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
I'll
we're
do
getting
that.
more and more of these people that are wanting to have a floating dock out in the lake. I think it'd be good to have some kind of, something to go by, some kind of regulation.
Basically, you could have any size floating dock if we don't have regulation, and you could have it anchored a foot from the end of your other dock.
Why don't we get a megaphone?
So we gotta have something.
All right, let me have the waterways program contact you guys.
Thank you. That would be very helpful.
Thanks, guys.
What constitutes a connection with the shore
Well, physical,
on a floating dock?
well, floating dock isn't attached to the shore. That's how I see it.
But what if you had some planks or something that would touch the shore? That would be a connection, right?
That would be a connection, yes.
What if you put in stepping stones?
Yeah,
Well, stepping stones, if they're not connected, then it still needs a permit from the commission because you're altering land underwater.
That's true. We've had that.
But the-
Yeah, isn't it also that
Yeah.
the docks are getting farther and farther out into the lake? It's not that they're close enough to be connected, but they're getting out there where the boats go.
They can't be, as I understood it, okay, I've looked into it as much as I could figure out where to look. And from what I could figure out, they couldn't be more than 200 feet out, that there was some regulation for that. Years ago, when they first started coming back to the towns with the Chapter 91 and requiring everybody to redo them if they hadn't already done them, my understanding was that a floating dock did not require a Chapter 91 if it was floating. That's what they told us in any case. So this is kind of a big gray area.
I'd have to read the 91 regs. Because I don't want to say something one way or the other that's wrong.
Okay, well, that would be great to get that information, Mark. Thank you.
Okay, I'll do that tomorrow.
Joe mentioned it might be a town manager question.
Also, who appoints the harbor master?
Good
They do.
question.
Gary Kleinerman is the
You know, I
harbor
know that
master.
he doesn't even live in
Appoints
town
them.
anymore.
I know.
Stockbridge Board
Maybe
Association.
that doesn't matter.
I don't know if it does or not, but he's been the harbor master for years and he has not lived in town for quite a while.
I don't know, is he appointed by the select board or is he appointed by SBA?
No, the select board,
Okay.
Have to be the select board. Yeah.
but no
Look
one's,
into that.
no one's replaced him. I mean, he's still the harbor master.
He's the gentleman that pulls the pont, or the buoys and stuff, right? Has,
Well, he and my
He
husband,
doesn't live-
your husband too?
my husband is the one who puts the buoys in every year.
Out on that pontoon boat?
Well, I guess Gary does some, but the distance ones that mark the 200, or 200 or 300 foot,
Right.
whatever it is, my husband does that in the little,
Rowboat.
no, it's it's an inflatable.
How far out do you think the camp slides and stuff are?
Oh, they're not. Well, it's kind of shallow over there also. So people aren't whipping through there?
But it's within, we have a bylaw in town, Mark, that does regulate the speed of boats and the direction that the boats can go. It also has a buffer from the shoreline that I thought it was 200 feet. It might be as much as 300 feet. From that buoy line, which is put out in the spring, to the shoreline, you can't go more than 6 miles an hour.
Is
So
the
it's
harbor
supposed to-
master that enforces that?
The people who live around the lake enforce it because they get really mad when people wake their docks.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Anything else on this?
And the
Marie, you all
swimmers and
set on that?
canoes and all those things.
All set, thank you.
All right. We'll be in touch when we hear.
We have I went to the Forestry Commission meeting.
I
Wait,
skipped that. I
Performance
forgot that.
standards. So council's coming to the next meeting?
Yes.
Is Dave coming to the next meeting?
Yes.
Yes,
So they'll both be in the same room?
Yes.
yes.
So I'd encourage everybody
wait for the question.
to read through it before that meeting. So if you have questions, we can maybe get it finalized if we have
Would be
them
nice, wouldn't it?
in the same room.
Does that show the edits from the previous versions? And I mean, I looked at it, but not in words, so I didn't know that it's,
It shows what
Okay, it shows what-
council says and what
Okay,
Dave
okay,
says.
cool.
Yeah.
Would anybody like a hard copy of this?
The hard copy you couldn't really print it out so you could read it.
This
Well,
is
yeah,
pretty
this
nice.
This is printed
No,
out.
I don't know, but the one I printed out, I couldn't really read.
I don't know who
Maybe I
AB
can-
is, but it's DC and DB, so that's. that's
DB
that-
is Donna Brewer.
Right, so I mean, it did print out.
Yeah, okay. Mine didn't. Mine was a mess.
We can,
You want a copy? If anyone wants a copy of this, we can.
I can.
but I'll get more made. I'll bring it in and run it through the big machine tomorrow.
They've got color capability now,
Yeah.
don't they?
Will you
It'll
get
be
it?
in the mailbox.
So
okay.
I'll get this back
Yes,
It'll be in the mailbox.
in the Concom mailbox.
yes.
Okay,
You know what
okay.
that is?
Yep, thank you. Okay,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
8,
9.
9.
There'll be copies sometime tomorrow.
So where's this mailbox you referred to?
I'll show you
In the
before you leave.
workroom.
Just if you go in the workroom where the copier is, to your left, right to your left, there are the mailboxes, there's the conservation mailboxes there.
And can we,
There's some filing cabinets.
do we know now as a group what our concerns are with the,
Performance standards?
yes.
There's some, you will. There's a lot of concerns. Looks like about half of it.
well, some are Dave's original comments,
Yeah.
right? The changes he made.
This is initials on there, so who?
Yeah, it says DC and DB. You can track.
Yep.
I don't know who AB is. There's comments from AB also. Don't know who that is.
Do we know kind of which iteration the comments came in on? I mean, that's the other,
It's the latest version from the last time we met with Dave. So his comments are here as DC,
okay.
and then Donna's comments are DB.
So if you want previous comments, you have to look at previous editions,
All right, that's,
I believe.
AB is.
Let me see where I saw AB.
Try to find that out tomorrow.
Okay.
I have a question of Lisa and the chairman and the secretary, and that is, why did town council cut out the part that I requested about the contractor signing off on the plans?
It's a
I mean,
good question.
that's one of the reasons I want her here.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's like a no-brainer. It's like, okay, let's make everybody accountable for what happens here.
yeah. So having her here, we can ask the question. I don't know the answer. But
90% of our problems occur because of this.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly right.
right, so it's important to have it in. I agree.
But if a contractor signed it, would that hold the homeowner harmless? I don't know.
It would, yeah.
Just they have to be aware of it.
part of the problem here is that some of these projects used to come before us 2018. They sat around for like 2 years. Then all of a sudden the contractor went to work. I had no idea what went on in the front. And there's a couple of projects down at the end of Beechwood that are very good proof of that.
Both sides? No,
It could be though.
yeah. That'll cut the paperwork in half.
And then you have Camp Huza.
Anything else? Any questions? At the next meeting, this is the time to ask questions, so when we get this to everybody, go through it. Put your own little sheet of paper there and mark stuff down.
Other than the signature or the initials, was there other things that were removed that you're not content with? Or you get pretty content with the way it reads now?
No, I have questions.
Okay.
Okay. Agricultural Forestry Commission meets again on March 6th.
I went to the last one.
I forgot all about it.
It was interesting. It's always interesting.
On the Concom's notes in the town report, I didn't mention anything about the tree issue around the lake.
Okay,
Under the thoughts that the Forestry Commission would
Yeah.
hopefully,
I think Matt will include it in his report.
all right,
Yeah, and say that Concom was
that we're
included.
involved.
Yeah.
I had a very interesting discussion which came up briefly in the meeting that we had with the select board the other day. The select board held a meeting with Smitty and the state representative or state senator, Mark. And apparently there was years ago a study done by a couple of the local vets that indicate that along the Housatonic River, particularly where it juxtaposes with the railroad, a rather significant and alarming incidence of canine cancer. And apparently this is also the case with humans, but you can't document that due to HIPAA. But the canine cancer is the bellwether for what's happening with humans. And I didn't have the opportunity because I'd already said too much. I thought to say that the regulations which allow the rights of way along the Housatonic River by the railroads and the highways and the electric company and everybody else who wants to spray poison along their rights of way, that is combining in an aerosol version, according to this study, and combining in an aerosol version to become 100 times more toxic as a carcinogenic as any other, as the PCBs alone. And I think that this is something that the state really has to look at. We allow these chemicals to be put along the rights of way, and they, without really thinking about how they would combine with other things that are already there.
Like creosote.
Like creosote. Well, creosote in particular was a big factor. And the stuff that they're putting in the rails now, which is not creosote, but is close to creosote, is apparently one of the agents that's amplifying the toxicity.
Well, they take the creosote ties out, they just stack them up next to the.
Right, yeah, so,
And then,
So for years they've been seeping, right?
yeah, so they're still seeping along the river.
right,
But the,
unless they catch fire.
yeah, East Main Street, West,
Good idea.
West Main Street in particular is a disaster.
And what's the insecticide that the aerosol they're spraying that's?
No, that's
Herbicide.
been
It's the
banned.
herbicides, all these chemicals between the stuff that they're putting in the railroad ties and the chemicals that they're using to get rid of, weeds along their rights of way. And in combination with the PCBs is a really serious health issue.
Right.
And unless there's a wetland right there, they are allowed to spray within 10 feet of the river.
Wow.
And where do you think that goes when it rains? So you've got the glyphosate and whatever else they use, which is supposed to be safe in wetlands, combining with the PCBs and creating this toxic, there was some horrific interaction with a man who used to live on Main Street, who collected golf balls out of the river and developed, it aerosolized.
Well,
I don't think that's a word, but it became airborne.
Can you get us a copy of the?
I don't have it, and I'm still trying to get it.
Okay.
Is any other town, any town?
Well,
in Massachusetts?
Denny also alluded to it in the meeting, and there's a community in Pittsfield called Lakewood years ago. And it's near a power transformer. And I'm not sure exactly how the chemicals were getting intermixed with the PCBs, but the percentage of people who lived in that housing complex was like 85% of them had cancer. Deadly.
I gotta say, I'm a little uncomfortable without having a document.
Right, no, I understand.
This is sort of like, she said, he said, they said.
The document exists, we just have to find it.
Yeah, okay. And the document would be a really good place to start this discussion from.
Okay. Do we need any discussion on 82 Interlaken this week?
No.
No.
Campusa Bog.
Just a general question, and maybe to the people that have been on the commission for a long time. Over the past, since the last commission disbanded, how has the Concom been involved with Campusa Bog?
Only by the filing, they had a filing, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, again, to go after the invasives.
Okay, that's been the extent, that's what I thought.
And we made some comments that DEP didn't like, and they overrode us.
in my ranting about the
The
beavers.
phragmites? Checking Sally.
It was particularly, I think, more Agawam than it was Campusa, but they overrode us on Campusa too.
Okay, thank you. And are you appointed? Were you
I
appointed?
brought it
I
up
don't know.
to Michael Canales, so it'll be on the agenda, the next
The next
select board
meeting.
meeting.
Okay, good.
So you will.
So what did we want or not want them to do that the DP said they should?
Like Agawam, the person whose property abuts Agawam, which is the Swan family, which I'm sure that everybody has become more and more aware of because the Clover, the daughter,
She died from it.
recently died and the property's up for sale. It's 500 and some odd acres of land that surrounds Campusa or Agawam. And she was very concerned that they were going to use chemicals in the Phragmites and whether or not that would in fact would affect the wells for the people who lived there.
Okay.
And she wanted us to put in the order of conditions that if there was any report that people had found traces or, significant amounts of glyphosate in their water, that they would have to inform us. Or that they would have to stop using it or something. I don't know. Anyway,
Really?
they said, the DEP said,
So it triggered an idea. At one time, the town was looking for wells for supplementary water supply. And I think they drilled down in there for water wells for the town. So they must have extensive, information on that water.
So somewhere.
Ron, you must remember that.
No, I don't. But if they drilled wells, the wells are still there because they just cap them if they don't use them.
They were exploratory, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think Clover was particularly worried about her own well and the wells of people who are renting property on their property.
For some reason, they decided not to go with it.
I must be confused. Are we talking Agawam, Mass? And we were trying to.
Agawam Lake is down south on Route 7 to your right, in between Monument and Route 7.
Good question.
It's the lake on the right as you just are going out of Stockbridge into Great Barrington.
Oh,
It's Agawam.
It's where all the phragmites are about
Thank you.
12 feet high on the sides of the road.
Well, they're not so much on the right-hand side because DEP has been out there, or DCR has been out there getting rid of it.
Come back in a couple of.
But the other side of the road is just ridiculous.
and then Agawam, Mass was where our consultant gentleman was talking, where they drained the swamp.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And there was that just reminded me of something else about Clark Road, but I can't remember what it was.
12-foot
What?
12-foot invasives going down either
Oh,
side.
no, but there was something about Clark Road the other day.
Something in the email.
What it was. I'm sorry?
There was something in the Concom email about Clark Road and
Don't remember that.
some state agency wanting to do, or utility wanting to.
Utility,
Utility
that was
wanting to
it.
do something.
That was it. So the National Grid wants to repair and replace their telephone pole or their poles. But they also want to put in some new ones. And I said, they were going to just go ahead and do it under maintenance. And because they were putting in new ones, I told them they had to file an NOI. And I talked to David and he said, yep. So.
And then going back just a few minutes, why did DEP have issues with us wanting to know if wells were becoming contaminated?
They thought it was onerous, I think.
I think you're muted, Mark.
I can't hear you.
All right, I can explain that.
Okay, thank you.
It wasn't DEP that appealed. It was Mass Wildlife that appealed the two orders. So under the Wetlands Protection Act, we're much more limited to the special conditions we can include versus the conditions you can include under your bylaw. So basically, we couldn't include such a condition. I mean, there was nothing in the regulations that would have allowed David or anybody at DEP to include that condition. So, it would have had to have been included as a special condition under the bylaw, meaning it would never have come to us, that particular question would never have come to us on appeal.
Okay. Good to know.
So that's why when you write an order of conditions, after you get to the general and special conditions under the Wetlands Protection Act, the next page is for any special conditions under your bylaw. So if you ever want to be strict under your bylaw, you only put that special condition about herbicides or whatever, like I've seen you do on a couple orders. You only put it on that page. It's strictly for the wetland bylaw.
It's good to know. Thank you.
For the town.
Yeah, I've done that with most of the things, but just apparently not with that one.
Any other business?
Well, are these Eisenstein people coming to talk about replanting? Yeah, some, but not others.
Yeah, did we decide what we want him to replant?
Oh, okay, no.
They're only
coming
taking
before us.
out 2 trees. No, they're not.
Just, I would say,
Well, it have been 2 to 1. But I don't know, is there room, John, is there, what sort of space
I
or
thought
room
we
do they have?
decided we were gonna,
One dead ash tree.
well, apparently there are
Maybe that was not in
two.
the proper place.
And we dealt with this at the beginning of the meeting.
But I didn't know what we decided.
I say, yes, okay, replant trees and shrubs. That there's buckthorn there. So we were going to ask him if he wanted to remove the buckthorn. And if so, we understood that there was no real buffer to the lake. If he wanted to remove the buckthorn, we were going to try and get him to do some planting along the,
Yes, because it is at the bank. So we want to.
but we, this is,
But
we don't
if we
have,
just say remove the buckthorn, we don't know how he's gonna go about it.
no, exactly. So this is going to have to be another discussion.
So can we invite him to a meeting? Should we? I mean,
Yes, but he just wants to get these two dead trees down.
okay.
So I'll tell him that, and I did tell him that we were probably going to ask him to replant, so he's not going to be surprised by that.
Thank you.
So he's got the majority of his ask done then if he gets
Yes.
the trees down.
Yeah,
We're just gonna condition clean up
yeah,
and the replant.
yeah.
Okay.
And one thing, unless you get something else, you good.
Nope.
MAC, Massachusetts Association of Conservation Commissions, has lately been very active online. And especially with something that they call the PLPA tracker, which stands for Public Lands Preservation Act. It's taken 24 years for them to get it passed, and they finally got it passed. I would encourage people to go to, just in terms of education, it's not, but in terms of education, to go to their website and click here 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 and find out a little bit more about it. And while I was clicking here, and here, I came to understand that there is a bunch of stuff that blows by us, not in terms of public lands, but in terms of private lands, that it doesn't seem all that important because the engineers really don't put it down in front of us. So I would encourage people to go to the MAC website and learn more about what it is that they put in front of us and the education that we can get from it if we're going to continue to sit on this board.
Well, they have their annual,
The annual meeting is coming up.
it's a week long.
Yeah, no, but it's online, no packing.
What week is it? Do you
I think the 28th.
Yeah,
March
first
1st.
weekend, kind of over the first weekend in March, which is
Yeah.
when it usually is.
Yeah.
It was
And
like
they have a lot of good offerings. I'm glad you
You
brought
just
it
went
up.
for the food.
I went for the food. Except the last time I went, the food sucked. They used to have great vegetarian food at Holy Cross, but then I don't know what they did, but then it wasn't so good anymore. They had a sesame noodle thing that was amazing.
Well, you're not going to get anything online, so you better sit down while you're doing the sandwich.
Better cook here. Ron, I went to the police station, had my picture taken,
I
with
heard.
an ID card, and she said, you're the only one that showed up, so.
Did you get a,
I haven't gotten the card. I guess I need to go
Teresa-
to Terry or Teresa.
yeah, she sent me an email, I think it was, that they seem to be out of the little cards. And she doesn't know if she can get any more now.
What I do.
Is this for the ethics?
To say
The little,
online?
members of
yeah,
the
I have to do that.
I have one question, and that is with regard to an open NOI.
An open NOI?
Yeah, with regard to, we set a site visit.
Yes.
And, I'm in Pittsfield, North Adams, wherever. I can't attend it, but I want to see the site. We're unallowed to go to the site to see
there's
it.
some question, John, because that came up today. between,
Maybe Mark has some thoughts on this.
all right, Mark, if we set a site visit and let's say 4 people go to it, 3 can't make it, are the missing members from the original scheduled site visit allowed to go visit that site at some time? Or do they have to set up another site visit?
I would work it out with the consultant. You just don't want to show up on, you wouldn't want somebody showing up on your property without knowing who it is and what's going on. So you really want to give people the same respect that you'd want. So just work it out with the consultant, call them up directly and say, when's a good time for me or, a couple of us to go.
Would the contractor be involved in that? Could he be the contact person? Because he's usually, at some of these sites, he's the only one that's even semi-local. These other people could be.
Are you talking during the notice of intent process?
Yes.
It was open, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes, when it's open.
Right, so before you've issued the order, I just want to do a site visit. I mean, my experience, most contractors aren't even on site until, the order of conditions has been issued.
Our town bylaw says that we're allowed to go on the property at any reasonable hour.
Okay, subject to constitutional limitations. I'm sure
Right.
it says that, right?
Yes.
So
Well,
constitutional limitations really.
It doesn't say constitutional limitations, but it does say we're allowed to, at any reasonable hour, to
Okay.
inspect.
But it's just courteous to let
Yes,
people
of course
know
it
that
is.
you're
put that on your
going.
list of questions next meeting.
Or just ask the owner. I mean,
Yes.
you've got the owner's contact information. They may be in New York or they may be out of town somewhere and maybe nobody's even home. So the consultant should be able to tell you that. Sometimes the owner, comes to these meetings. So just talk to them. Just be open and say, we're not sure if all of us can make it at the same time, what works for you,
We've had that conversation that not everyone has been able to make this. Is it all right if someone else stops by? But what we've not done is set a time that these people would show up. Usually we got to, okay, yeah, stop by, take a look at it. We always say, is it all right if somebody stops by to look at this? But we have not done a confirmation on when these people would do this second site visit or third or whatever it is.
Every commission in the region has the exact same issues you do, and they pretty much work it out the same way. You talk to the owners, you talk to the consultant, and just explain things, and they all understand. No big deal.
I usually knock on the door. If nobody's there, I just go take a quick look.
I don't know, that's all right.
So, John, looking through this, just as an FYI, exemptions, it's under exemptions. The act does not apply to the cutting of forest product on land devoted to forest purposes whose owners have complied with the provisions of the Forest Cutting Practices Act. General Laws, Chapter 132.
Well, go get an airplane then.
Drone. Drone.
No, airplanes would be fun.
Any other
Want to hear
business?
about the law on those?
No.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, then.
Verbatim?
No. Common practice.
Any other business tonight?
No.
Make a motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.